All right, guys. So today we are going to start by going over the last knowledge check that you took, and that was solving for X. And that is in Unit 4, Week 3, solving for X. So if you have not done that yet, go ahead and do that. And now we will go over it. So when we solve for X, we need to set this equation equal to something. So if we were to make an equation for this, in the chat box, go ahead and tell me what you would set all of these angles equal to. Okay, what would you set all of these angles equal to? You're typing it in the chat. And I'm going to run and grab my calculator. Okay, so in the chat, tell me what you would set all of these angles equal to in order to solve. All right, perfect. So you would set them equal to 180, which means that you would take each of these angles and create an equation. So we have 8x plus 5x plus 2x equals 180. Then we need to combine our like terms. Actually make this font a little bit bigger for you. That may help. How's that? All right, then we need to combine our like terms. So we have an 8x, a 2x, and a 5x. Those combine to be 15x, and it's going to equal 180. We'll divide both sides by 15. Can anybody tell me in the chat box what you got for your final answer? Perfect. I got 12. So if you notice, there is only one answer choice here that you get 12 for, right? So that has to be the correct answer, right? Let's double check. So if you're going to plug these in, you have 2 times 12 equals 24. Well, we look over here and we see that angle Q, 24, down here, angle Q is 24. So you could take and you could keep plugging all of these in. You could take 8 times 12 and you would get 96. You can take 5 times 12 and you would get 60. Therefore, B is your correct answer. All right. Looking at the next question, I'll go ahead and have the video explain it to you just so you can kind of have a break in what's going on. So here's someone else's voice instead of mine for you.
What is the measure of angle B? All right, so first let's figure out what X is, and then we'll plug that value in here and solve for the measure of angle B. So we have X plus 40 plus 3x minus 17 plus 2x minus 5 equals 180 degrees. So let's combine like terms. We have x plus 3x plus 2x giving us 6x. And then we have 40 minus 17 minus 5. That gives us 18 equals 180. So 6x equals 162 once we subtract 18 from both sides. Then we divide both sides by 6 and we get x equals 27. The next step is to plug 27 in here and we get 3 times 27 minus 17. This is 81 minus 17 and that is 64 degrees. So this angle here is 64 degrees. The answer is C.
All right, questions on that? I'll go ahead and pause for a second. So what we're going to transition back to now, because the last knowledge check was only 2 questions. We're going to talk about this here in a second, but I would like to go over the assignment you turned in, the breakout rooms triangle activity. So go ahead and locate that right now. That way you can check your answers as I am going over this. So I'll give you about 1 minute to locate this, and then you'll be able to check your answers while I'm going over it. Okay, so in the chat box with each of these questions, just go ahead and respond to me. Okay, and tell me what you think it is. So we're naming each of these triangles by their angles and by their sides. So I'll go ahead and do the very first one. We notice that all of the angles are small. They're all less than 90 degrees. Therefore, they are acute. We also notice that we have two angles that are the same, and we have sides marked to show that they are the same. So this is actually an acute isosceles. Okay, acute isosceles triangle. And you don't necessarily have to write triangle after each of these. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. What do we think about question 2? And you can unmute yourself or tell me in the chat. What do we notice about angles and sides? So I need some participation here.
A right angle.
Perfect. So it's a right. And then we notice that all of the numbers on the sides are different. What is the vocabulary word that we use for that? Scaling. So it's a right scaling triangle. What about this next one? What do we notice? We have an angle that is over 90 degrees. An angle that's over 90 degrees.
Obtuse.
Yep. So it's obtuse. And we notice again that we have all of the sides are different lengths. So it would be scaling. Perfect. What do we notice about question 4? This is one of those ones that I like to consider kind of special.
It has the same number for each side.
Yeah. So it's equiangular. And if something's equiangular, it's automatically equilateral. Okay. So it's an equiangular equilateral triangle. They all go together. All right, let's go ahead and look at question 5. Question 5. What do we think? What do we notice? Yep, it's a right triangle. And what else? Yep, perfect. The right isosceles triangle. All right, question 6. Question 6.
Acute.
It is acute, and what else? Yep.
Scaling.
Yeah, that's perfect. Acute scaling triangle. What about this one? We've already had one kind of like this.
Equilateral.
And if it's equilateral, it's automatically equiangular. They're like one and the same. They're best friends. You never see one without the other. All right, looking at this last one in this section, what do we see?
Obtuse.
It is obtuse, yep. And it's also isosceles. Perfect. How do we do on this? Do we feel good? Maybe? All right, cool. We're going to move on to the next section. So this time, I will go ahead and highlight things for you, okay? So we can actually go ahead and fill some things in if we wanted to. So we notice right here that if this side is marked 14, this side right here would also be marked 14 because they're the same. Let me make my font a little smaller. Okay, so 14 would have to go right here because they're the same. If this side right here is 90, that means that this side right here would also have to be 90. Something else I notice is that this is a straight line and we only have half of the angle. So you can take 180 minus 60 and you find that this angle right here is 120. Okay. If we read the directions, it says that QN which is this line right here, is bisecting PQR. So it's bisecting this angle right here. Well, if half of the angle is 30, that means the other half is also going to have to be 30. Okay. It also says that N down here is the midpoint of PR, which means that each of these pieces are going to be 7 because you see a 7 on the other side, which makes the whole thing 14. All right. So now we've filled in, I think, almost everything that we could fill in. So we can go ahead and get started. I will try my best to color code these. Sometimes I forget, but we will try. So we have PQR. PQR. So what do we think this is? What do we notice? Yep, all the sides are the same and all of the angles are the same. So it's, and again, my spelling, very questionable here. All right, next one, we have PRT. Perfect. Yep, I already see somebody typing in the chat box. So we have an obtuse. And then we see one of the sides is 18. And the whole upper side, if you add 7 and 7 together, is 14. And then the other side's really small. So to me, that means all of the sides are different. Okay. So it would have to be scaling. Looking at this one, what do we notice? It's not a right angle because there's no 90 degrees in it. We notice that all of the angles are less than 90, so therefore it's acute, and it is isosceles. Because we have two angles that are the same, which means we have two sides that are the same. Let's go ahead and look at the last one. I'll do that one in orange for you. We have QNP. So QNP is right here. What do we notice? This is I think you might have been giving me this answer before. This is a right, yeah. I think you were one step ahead of us. This is a right scalene. All right, are we ready? Go ahead and take a screenshot of this to add it into your notes, okay? You're taking a screenshot of this to add into your notes. All right, so we are now going to transition back into our New Jersey notes, and they are right here. So we're going to talk about we already talked about the triangle sum theory. Hang on. Okay, let's pause. So the first thing I want to highlight here is we're talking about a triangle sum theorem. Okay, so this is all a theorem that we're about to do. Okay. So this says the acute angles of a right triangle are complementary. Complementary is a word that we went over a few units ago. What does this word mean? How many degrees does that mean? Complementary means how many? Complementary means 90 degrees. Perfect. So that means you have two angles that add up to 90 degrees. Well, we know that right here, this angle means 90, right? So it says the acute angles of a right triangle, which that right here, acute angles of a right triangle. So those angles are right here and right here. It says they are complementary. Well, let's make sense of this. So all the angles of this triangle are going to add up to be 180 degrees. And we've already used 90 of them. Okay, so we've already used 90 of them because we've already used this, right? So what we have left over is 90. Okay, so that means that these two angles right here, this and this, are going to have to be 90. So does that make sense? I actually usually don't have you take screenshots of the New Jersey curriculum, but I think that you may want to take a screenshot of this. So I'll give you a second to do that. Okay. So I'm giving you a minute to take a screenshot of this. So let's talk about this. If I'm just going to draw some triangles and do some examples right now. Okay. My triangle is probably not going to look that great. So let's just keep that in mind. So you have a triangle right here. And then we could have like a triangle. Oh my gosh, that's so ugly. Sorry, guys. We call this angle 1. We can call this angle 2. We can call this one down here angle 3. What do you know about angle 2 and angle 3? What kind of angles are those? I understand my picture is really ugly, but perfect. All right, angle 2 and angle 3 are vertical. So they're equal. Okay. So angle 1 and angle 2 in this picture is going to equal 90, right? Because we've already used 90 in that corner. So we have 90 left over. What if I said angle 1 plus angle 3 is going to equal 90? Would that also be true? It would be true because angle 2 and angle 3 are equal. Okay. So saying angle 1 plus angle 2 equals 90 is the same thing as saying angle 1 plus angle 3 equals 90 because angle 2 and angle 3 are equal. And we know that because right here. Okay. Questions on that? Nope. Okay. So you have a knowledge check. Okay. You can locate that knowledge check right here. I'm going to give you guys 20 minutes to do it, which puts you at 9:45. I will call you back in here and then we will go over it. The knowledge check is right here. It's called proving the triangle sum. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the breakout rooms. I'm going to put Miss Bailey in room 1. If you're supposed to be with her, join room 1. If otherwise, you just need to join your own independent breakout room. If you're watching the recording of this, just pause it and then I will call you back in shortly. So I'm going to pause my recording. You're taking the knowledge check and then tune back into this video and we will watch me go over it. All right, guys, so we are about to go over this knowledge check. So some of these questions I will do, some of these I will play the video for, but either way, we will get through it. So I would like you to respond in the chat box with what you think the answer is for this question. In a right triangle, the sum of the acute angles is 90 degrees. Is that true or false? Yes, you are absolutely correct. This is true. And this is what we talked about right before we took this knowledge check. Question 29. Go ahead and tell me either, oh, I did not mean to click that. Go ahead and either tell me what you think the answer is or like what one step would be for me to get there. And if this was a new kid, they came into class, what would you do? Yep, so 180 minus 90 minus 57. And what does that give us? It tells us that this missing angle is 33 degrees. 33B is your answer. Question 30. These would all be set equal to 180. I'm going to just go ahead and have her explain it to you. I think it'll be a little faster, and then you get a break from me as well.
Solve for x. Since this is a right triangle, we know that angles A and C are going to be complementary. Therefore, the measures of those angles add up to 90 degrees. So we have angle A here plus 31 degrees equals 90 degrees. We'll combine like terms. We have -1 degree plus 31 degrees. So we have 3x plus 30 degrees equals 90 degrees. Subtract 30 from both sides, and we get 60 degrees. Divide both sides by 3, and we get 20 degrees. So x equals 20. The answer is B.
All right. I'm going to have her explain this one as well. You would set these equal to 180 and combine your like terms.
Determine the measure of angle P. So this angle right here. All right, since this is a right triangle, we know that these two angles are complementary, so we can add them up and solve for x. 2x minus 2 plus x plus 5 equals 90 degrees, since complementary angles add up to 90 degrees. So we have some like terms here we can combine. So 2x plus x equals 3x. -2 plus 5 equals 3. 90 degrees. Subtract 3 from both sides. We get 3x equals 87. Divide both sides by 3, and we get x equals 29. Then we just have to plug this x value in here, 29, to solve for this angle. So 2 times 29 minus 2 gives us 56 degrees. The answer is C.
Yeah. Looking at this one's a really good example. And you basically told me the answer to this one in the very first question that you replied as it being true or false. So we've already used 90 degrees of this triangle, and a whole triangle equals 180. You've already used 90 with this right here. So you have 90 left over. So if you add angle 1 and 2 together, what would they equal? Go ahead and respond in the chat. If you were to add, yeah, that's perfect, Perla. If you were adding angle 1 and angle 2 together, they would equal 90 degrees. Question 33. What do you know about angle 2 and 3? What is a vocabulary word that would describe angle 2 and angle 3? All right, so angle 2 and angle 3 are vertical angles, which means that they are equal. So if you add angle 1 and angle 3 together, they're still going to equal 90 degrees because it's the exact same thing as saying angle 1 and angle 2 added together, because 2 and 3 are the same angle. We need to find the value of x in this diagram. So the first thing that we need to do is figure out what this missing angle is on the top triangle. So 180 minus 90 minus 20 gives us 70. Okay. These two angles right here are vertical, so they would both be 70. Now we have two of the three angles in the bottom triangle, so we can take 180 minus 90 minus 70, and you get this missing angle right here of 20 degrees. I'm going to play the video for you as well. That way you can have two people explain how to do this. That may help. Let me clear these drawings first. Sometimes a different perspective can help.
Find the value of x in the diagram. All right, so we have two right triangles here. Let's label this angle here. So we know that x plus y equals 90 degrees. And this angle here is also y because these are vertical angles. Vertical angles are congruent and therefore have equal measures. So in this triangle, we have 20 degrees plus y equals 90 degrees because this is a right triangle and these are complementary angles. Therefore, y equals 70 degrees. Now, this y is the same y that's here. Therefore, this angle is 70 degrees. Now, we have a triangle here, a right triangle. So these two angles here are complementary. Therefore, we have 70 degrees plus x equals 90 degrees. That makes x equal to 20 degrees. So x equals 20 degrees, A.
Okay, perfect. I kind of think the way that I explained it might have been easier, but it's up to you guys. All right, so that was your knowledge check. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, your class is actually ending early today. So let me know if you need anything. I'll be here the last 3-4 minutes to answer any questions that you might have.